This week we are going to learn Swati Nakshatra. Before we get to learn that, lot of people are asking me on the practical application of how these nakshatras have to be applied. I'm trying to explain it over this video. So, uh, so there are two charts here. One on the top is the North Indian. The bottom one is the South Indian. So we will get to see the lagna and the different planets placed in different nakshatras. Okay, so we get to see a horoscope. We first will define the theme of the life of the person. So how do we define the theme of the life of the person? Is we look at the lagna cusp. This is the lagna cusp. One is that, and then we'll see which lagna it is. So the lagna is Sagittarius. The lord of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So you have Jupiter in Rohini, Lagna Cusp is in Uttarashadha, and then we get to see the the Jupiter. I mean, wherever Jupiter is placed, we'll see the Lord of that Rashi. So Jupiter is placed in Taurus Rashi. So we have to see where Venus is. Venus is in Purva Phalguni. Okay. So what we understand from this is a combination of Uttarashadha, most importantly Purva Phalguni, because 80% of the result will come from Purva Phalguni, and then coupled up with the Lagna, that is Uttarashadha, and the third one is the Lagna Lord's Nakshatra, that is the Rohini. So you have Purva Phalguni to about 80%, and then what maybe or 70% you can take Purva Phalguni, and then 20% of Uttarashadha, and 10% of Rohini. This is how usually we get to the theme of it. Besides this, we also will add, if there are two planets, let's suppose now we have seen the Lagna Lord is along with another planet, which is also in Rohini. So it means that it is not just the 10% Rohini, it will be more of Rohini as well. So the dispositor will further go down to maybe 60%, and another 25-30% will add up to the Lord as well. Okay, this is what we will get to see. So we establish the theme of the Lagna first. So how the life of the person is, if we have to describe it in 2 or 3 or 5 lines, if we add up the qualities of Uttarashadha, Rohini, and Purva Phalguni, wherein Purva Phalguni has to be added up more because he is the Lagna Lord Dispositor, then it would show in about 3-4 lines how the life of the person is, based on which you can try to correct the the birth time of the individual as well, because you are adding up Uttarashadha here. The first pada of Uttarashadha, you have the Lagna. This is at 17. This is just a random thing. This is the today's date, August 11, 2024. 17 is the time I just took randomly. So if I'm just moving this to 10 minutes before, okay, like if I move it to 1650, what happens is this moves into Purvashada 4. Okay, so Purvashada 4 or Purvashada itself has a different um, characteristics, unlike Uttarashada. Uttarashada is different, Purvashada is different. They are ruled by two different deities. So you will be easily able to understand what is the birth time of the person based on the Lagna cusp as well. This also plays a good role. So this is how you get to see the first, that is the first house, that's about the native himself or herself. Just in case if the native wants to know, or if we have to determine the spouse thing, then we get to see the seventh lord similarly. How do we see the seventh lord thing? Is if we have to ascertain the spouse thing, we look at the seventh house from the Lagna. If you're looking at this horoscope, it is seventh house is here. This is the Gemini. The Gemini is here. This is the Gemini. We look at what is the cusp of the seventh house. We make a note of it. So this is Purvashada fourth. That is the eighth pada. If we know how to calculate padas, we have Mula. It starts from Mula. The Sagittarius starts from Mula. So you have Mula four padas. Mula 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have Purvashada 1, 2, 3, 4. That will make up to 8 padas. Similarly, you have to calculate 8 padas here in Gemini. That is, Gemini starts with Mrigashira second pada, third pada. So Mrigashira third pada, Mrigashira fourth pada. Those have formed 2 padas. We have to count uh, till we count 8 padas. Then after Mrigashira we have Ardra. Then we have Punarvasu. So the seventh house cusp falls in Punarvasu. This is an important point we have to make a note of, because what influences more the seventh house is the cusp and the dispositor of the seventh house, not much about the seventh house lord. So the seventh house lord nakshatra is Magha. This is the least influencing thing for the seventh house. Okay. However, the dispositor of Mercury, that is, Mercury is placed in Leo sign. So the lord of this sign is Sun. The Sun is placed in Aslesha. Okay. So Sun is going to play more role with respect to the seventh house. Coupled to it, you have to add up what is that? Punarvasu. So Punarvasu and Aslesha are going to determine how the spouse of this person would be. Okay. Added to that, maybe 10% is the only thing that will come up from Maga. This is a very low contributor. The Lord himself will be the lowest contributor. The dispositor is going to be the highest. The cusp is going to be the next. So 90% of the result, if you add up the dispositor and the cusp, you are going to get maybe a little flavor, like a tinge of a salt or something. You can add up the nakshatra of the Lord himself. So that's how you would calculate or have a basic understanding of the nakshatras. So some might be thinking, okay, if I have Purvashada here, the fourth house, so till the time I keep it down, like even if it is 1630 as well, it would still be in Purvashada. So it means that certain padas have advantage and certain padas do not have advantage. No, it's not like that. I'll tell you a simple thing. Let me roll it back to here, where it was Purva Shada 4. Now, wherever the pada is fourth pada, there you have to calculate moving the houses. So supposing you have fourth pada in the lagna itself, so in the lagna itself, the nakshatra is going to change. Okay, I'll tell you a different. I'll show you a different thing. Let me just show you. Let's suppose this is 35. Let's suppose you have Purvashada. Purvashada third pada. So even if it is 10 minutes up or 10 minutes down, it would still stay in Purvashada. This is not a disadvantage for the astrologer. He can still correct the birth time, because in three of these 12 houses that you have, when you move 10 minutes up or 10 minutes down, or maybe 15 minutes up and 15 minutes down, for sure the nakshatra is going to change in at least three of the houses. Okay. Um like you have three here for the first pada, then you have in one of the houses which is moving at 4 and 1. Okay, if you have two here in one of the houses, you will have it will have again 4 and 1. So at one point, for sure, the cusp is going to change, and that is where it is going to determine. And from there, you will catch, okay, this is the place where the nakshatra is changing. If the accuracy is 10 minutes, or when you know that there is a 2 hour or a 3 hour window, you have to sit down and keep analyzing the chart with every 15 minutes and try to understand, is this result coming or not? Okay, because certain results are very, very big. So such results are coming or not, you will understand after having got all the nakshatra essence. So it is important to understand the base energy from where the whole chart is working. I mean, what I would recommend is understand where the cusps are moving in each of the padas. It is very simple. It will move like 1, 2, 3. I'll tell you how. Let me just place this in Aries so that it's more easier for you to understand. So if I have to move this to Aries, then it should be like all right. So if you just see, have Aries here. Aries ends at the first pada, right? Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika. Kritika first pada is the end. Now go to Taurus. Second pada is the end. Kritika, Rohini, Mrigasira. Mrigasira second pada, the Taurus is going to end. Okay. Here the Gemini is going to end at the third pada. Okay. Uh, Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Kritika, Rohini, Mrigasira, Mrigasira, Ardra, Punarvasu. So Punarvasu third pada is going to be end. And this is going to again end at the fourth pada, right? So here first pada again starts. So you have a fourth pada in Lagna. It means that the next pada is going to be 1 here. So there is this fourth pada and the first pada cusp here. And there is also a fourth pada, first pada cusp in the fourth house from there. So you have to keep counting based on which you can actually move it upwards and downwards. At the start, it may look like a little complicated, but it is very, very easy once you try to figure out. What I would recommend is sit down and play around with this, where the padas are changing. All that you need to do is just count the number of padas that you are in, so that it's a lot easier. Okay. If you did not understand this, you have to understand this. You have to go back and forth in the video. It is a pretty easy thing. And nowhere you can find it plotted down for you that this falls in this cusp or that cusp. I don't think the nakshatra padas are given. There are houses given, cusp is given, but they don't give the nakshatra pada in which this is falling. The cusp is here, 24-degree Aries. You should be in a position to understand which nakshatra pada it is. Okay. The simplest way to understand this is just see which pada is the lagna. From there, just count in clockwise. So if it is fourth pada here, it should be the first pada in the second house, second pada in the third house, fourth pada in the fourth house. Uh, that's how the revolution happens. It's an ascending order: 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but you have to be careful because certain places you will see like the first pada will be there. In case of you take this one Taurus, there will be the first pada of Rohini. Rohini, there will be first pada, and also Mrigasira, there will be first pada. You have to be sure which one of those. Okay, by counting the number of padas. Hope I'm making some sense, but it takes a little time for you people to figure out. Yes, Akshita.
Sir, so in the current chart that you were showing, it had Bharani fourth pada, right? So I was just thinking, so Bharani fourth pada is nothing but the eighth Navamsha. So can we go to the whichever house we want and go look at the corresponding eighth Navamsha in that house? Will it also be the same calculation?
Yes, that's what I've explained at the start. I think you've joined a little late.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that you have to do. You have to count the number of padas. This is the eighth pada. So you have to count 8 padas in that. The other way of remembering or the other way of cross-checking, double cross-checking is if it is the fourth pada here in the second house, you have to get the first pada. It cannot be somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So both the ways you gave us 2 ways to calculate. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, it's a cross-check thing. All right. So if you have to understand how the children are, then how would you do it? You go to the fifth house and you see which is the fifth house. Now, if you're looking at this chart, then you count 5 houses. You have Mercury and Venus here. So you get to see first the fifth house and the fifth lord. So the fifth lord is Sun. So fifth lord sun is in Aslesha. I'm not very familiar with this kind of horoscope, so you have to tell me if I'm going somewhere wrong. The fifth lord is not sun, then you have to tell me that. Okay, don't think I'm expert in either of these charts. I don't use these charts more often. I use the East Indian chart. So as far as I know, this is Leo. So this the Lord of Sun, the Lord of Leo is Sun. So first look at how the Sun is, then look at the dispositor of it. That's the most important. Okay, now you have the fifth house Lord as Sun. Keep him aside. Look at who's his dispositor. So Moon is the dispositor. You will understand that the children are more influenced by Swati Nakshatra. Okay. From there, you will understand, then you will get back and see, okay, there are a few planets in the fifth house. Let me also consider them. Are there two planets in the same nakshatra? Then you have more points to the planets in the house. So Venus is in Purva Phalguni, Mercury is in Magha. So these are two different nakshatras. So you will have half the points split up between these two. So how the children are, they will be influenced more by Swati then by the cusp of it. You have to count the cusp now. Four, one, two, three, four. So there is the eighth pada you have to calculate from here, wherein this is Purva Phalguni 4. Okay. So the Purva Phalguni is the cusp nakshatra. Then you have to understand Swati and Purva Phalguni together. Then add up Magha and a little bit of Purva Phalguni. You have everything coupled up, and then you get one single result for the children. Okay, that's how it works. Hope I'm making some sense. Now I'm not using any of the planets at all right now, so I'm not bothered whether it is Venus, Sun, or anyone, if it's in retrogression or anything. Right now, I'm not adding that confusion into you. You just need to figure out the dispositor of the house first, then go back to the planets inside the house, add up a little bit. Also important is the cusp of the house. Dispositor and cusp will add up to 80%. Everything else will go into the rest of the 20%. Okay.